What's up, guys? It's your boy Santos Destroy, and I'm back at y'all with another video. What if Naruto and Sasuke were brothers? Part 3. So, a quick recap of where we were last time. We had just finished the preliminaries of the Chunin exams, and we are now in the finals. And our finalists are as follows: Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Uchiha, Gaara of the Desert, Haku, Ino Yamanaka, Choji Akimichi, Tamari, Kiba, Rock Lee, and Tenten. So to get over the 1 month of training, I believe Sasuke, just like in canon, would train with Kakashi, get his speed up, learn Chidori, and that's basically where his training would stand. To be very similar to that of canon, except I do believe he could go for more Chidoris as he has more chakra than in canon. Now we have Naruto, who I believe would train with Jiraiya, and Jiraiya would probably take interest in Naruto's curse mark and his seal, and just see what that and probably would find some way to experiment with it. But overall, he'd learn Naruto, since he wouldn't have the nine tails, he wouldn't need to learn chakra control exercises. I do believe he would learn maybe the beginnings of the Rasengan, if not just overall increasing his physicality and whatnot. Gaara does the same training or lack thereof what he did in canon. Haku is very interesting in terms of what he learns over the 1 month time skip. You could say that he learns basically how to create ice and just fire projectiles of it rather than just his being limited to just his mirrors. So let's just say that Haku can create ice on like solid surfaces, fire ice projectiles, um, just basically lower temperatures around him because that's what ice users can do. They can just lower the temperature around them, and basically he can substitute himself with ice clones and whatnot. So basically, like the left side of Todoroki is what Haku can do at this point, except he can control the ice he creates to an extent as well with his chakra. So Ino, I guess you just overall train her physicality and stuff because it's not really clear what what she can train in as aside for learning more techniques. Then Choji would probably train his physicality, eat more, he eat a lot, get bigger, train his human boulder to a greater extent. Tamari would do the same training she did in canon. Kiba would probably learn the three-headed wolf transformation, just learn the massive wolf fang over fang rather than just his fang over fang. Probably train his taijutsu, speed, overall physicality, like everyone. Rock Lee, I do believe Rock Lee would train a lot. I mean, a lot. Especially that he already, I do believe that like Rock Lee would train a lot. I mean, he would train a lot. Just think about the idea of having to go up against Naruto and Sasuke and this new Gaara person. So Rock Lee would train. I do believe if he trained nonstop for a month and wasn't injured, I think he could learn the sixth gate. It'd be like a last resort. It would probably put his body through absolute physical agony, but I still believe he could learn it. And Tenten would probably just learn how to control her weapons better, her movement sharper, just gains overall physicality and have maybe like a bigger scroll or something. So now for the matchups. I still did random generators, which I just thought would make the most sense because that's how it was in the original canon. So our first match is Choji Akimichi versus Rock Lee. That is match number one. Now, the winner is Lee. On pen and paper, it should be easy. It is easy, but it still takes Lee a decent third or fourth gate to just knock Choji away with a giant Leaf Hurricane. But other than that, it's not that difficult of a fight. Same with Tenten. I mean, Tenten is just more offensive jutsu, and if Ino can't really pin her opponent down to use the mind transfer jutsu or the mind destruction jutsu, she can't really do anything if Tenten's constantly firing weapons at her, and eventually she gets Tenten into a she gets I mean Tenten gets Ino into a situation where Ino either gives up or she's just knocked out. Now this next match was supposed to be Sasuke versus Haku, but this is pushed back due to the fact that Sasuke is late just like in canon. So that means our next match would be Tamari versus Kiba, and I don't think even as fast as Kiba is, he's a dumb fighter. Let's just keep that out there. Kiba is a very, very dumb fighter. And being as resourceful and as clever as Tamari is, there's just no way Kiba can overcome that big of a distance like she has with her wind scythe jutsu compared to him with his short range combat. I don't think Tamari would let him get in close, but if he did, it would be over. But I think Kiba takes this. Today, Kiba loses this fight more times than he wins it, so I'm gonna have to give the victory to Tamari. So now we have one of the two hyped matches, Sasuke Uchiha versus Haku. Now, I believe that Haku's speed was already insane to begin with. Now Sasuke with two Tomoe Sharingan, Uzumaki genes, more chakra, plus the the taijutsu that he knows and the Chidori. This is going to be a very, very drawn out and long fight, which means this fight would be absolutely crazy. It'd be like Naruto versus Neji's fight in terms of how long it is, canon as in canon. So I think ultimately, just because we don't know if Sasuke trained his fireballs or his chakra naturally got stronger. But if Sasuke is able to melt Haku's ice mirrors, which it's shown not to be able to do in canon, so I'm going, since Haku's ice is naturally resistant to fire, I'm gonna have to go with Haku as the winner of this fight, just due to the fact that his not only is his speed increased from canon, the volume of ice that he can produce is also just increased, just due to the fact that his body, ice style user's body, naturally decreases the temperature of their surroundings, and he can just and over the month he's just learned to produce much more. But this is by no means an easy fight for either one. Like the only reason why Haku wins at the end of the day is because Sasuke is approaching with the Chidori at maximum speed. Because Sasuke would have knocked down Haku with some move, got him to Chidori, and Haku would have used a ton of chakra to create a giant Todoroki-esque ice wall that would literally freeze Sasuke in place. And then the match would be called, and only called in that situation. And then Haku would probably like fall to the floor in exhaustion, just as Sasuke did. And this was after a long, long fight. And now we have our final match. Naruto Uchiha versus Gaara of the Sand. Now, basically, this match goes the same as the canon Sasuke versus Gaara match, except Naruto's using shadow clones. And instead of a Chidori piercing him, it's a low level like Rasengan-esque pseudo Rasengan orb that doesn't do nearly as much damage, but it still causes Gaara to start bleeding. And then Gaara goes on his "My blood, it's so warm and wet" meltdown, and he incompletes the transformation of Shukaku. And as that happens, the entire Konoha crush happens, as there's just no reason for it not to happen. Even though in this continuity, I think it would fail miserably. Well, at least the invasion would fail miserably. Just just due to the fact that they have the entire Uchiha clan there. So you could have attack and Minato, the fourth Hokage. So a tag team of Minato, Fugaku, and Itachi, I think can defeat Orochimaru plus the three animated Hokage, and you could add Hiruzen there just for insult to injury. So you'd still have Naruto and Sasuke chasing off after Gaara, and now Haku in the situation. I still believe that instead of Shino fighting Kankuro, I think it'd be Haku fighting Kankuro, and Haku would defeat Kankuro because he just speed blitz him. He'd speed blitz Kankuro. Um, Naruto would go on. Sasuke would go on to fight Tamari. Sasuke would defeat Tamari much the same way he did in canon. and then you have the Naruto versus Gaara standoff, and then you have Sakura there. So basically, what happens is both Naruto and Sasuke's curse marks they both go off like at the same time because they've been using jutsu a ton of jutsu throughout the day, but both of their curse marks go off at the same time. But it's stated that a curse mark you can control the curse mark by basically your mental state, and the reason why Naruto's able to bounce back is because of his own mental state and basically what he sees in Gaara. So right now, as Naruto looks up at hopeless odds, sees face staring down Gaara, determined look in his eyes, Sasuke would get up right next to him, and then he'd finally just see Naruto as a true, as really as strong as he is, and Sasuke would just admit to himself that Naruto is probably stronger than him, just at that one point. And at the same time, when Sasuke just accepts it and Naruto embraces it, they're both of their what they're doing at this point. They at the same simultaneously they awaken their third Tomoe Sharingan, and both of them would go on to defeat Gaara, would go on to hold off Gaara until he transforms into Shukaku, which then this is where I think they learn how powerful the Sharingan is. They do the Sharingan Genjutsu on Shukaku, and just due to the fact that Shukaku's chakra is much less potent than that of the Kyuubi, and Sasuke could at least have an effect on the Kyuubi when he was 16, there's no doubt that Naruto and Sasuke together at age 12/13 would have some sort of effect on the One Tails. So let's just say that both of them staring daggers into Shukaku's psyche with their Sharingan pacify Shukaku for enough for the transformation to subside, and basically Sasuke is out with fatigue because he had a much tougher battle than Naruto did in the Chunin exams. So then Naruto has this talk no jutsu with Gaara and tells him I just because he wasn't in the situation doesn't mean he can't empathize with him and see things from his point of view. And then Gaara is like, oh, that's kindness. Kindness is what made you so strong. And so they have their dialogue, and the Konoha Crush utterly fails. Orochimaru is probably captured, if not killed. So basically, that leads into the third Hokage surviving. Well, he's not really the third Hokage anymore, it's Minato. So you have a much stronger village. You have Minato, Fugaku, third Hokage, and the entire Uchiha clan, except there's one more thing we need to address: Itachi's illness. And that's where we're going to leave off right now. If you liked it, share, subscribe. I'm a Santos the Destroyer, and I am out.